Hi, we're with Peter and Midnight Madness.
Nice.
Okay.
Right?
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
All right.
My name is Peter Kuplowsky. I'm the curator for Midnight Madness at the Toronto International Film Festival. You are the Midnight Madness audience, the best fucking audience in the world! I would like to acknowledge that tonight's events are taking place like they do every night on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are grateful for the opportunity to work within the community. Thank you. TIFF's commitment to engaging youth in festival programming, I'm super excited about this. This isn't just a TIFF Midnight Madness film. This is a TIFF Next Wave film. The Next Wave in the house. That's our TIFF team committee. They thought this film was awesome, and I respect them forever for that. And that committee is supported by the Slate Family Foundation. Alright, this film is also eligible, guys, and this is important because after this screening, you literally have like an hour or two to vote for the Midnight Madness Gross People's Choice Award. Literally take out your phone when this movie ends and go TIFF.net/vote and vote for some movies. We've been showing amazing ones all week. I hope you have stuff that you would like to vote for. We'd also like to acknowledge and thank MK2 Myland, Kino Lorber, and Charades for providing us with this film. Give it up to them right now. And if I may make a plug, I produced a zine this year with the amazing people at The Beguiling. Yes, one of the greatest comic book shop in Toronto, The Beguiling. Amazing art, tributes to all the Midnight Madness films of the year. You can get it at the TIFF shop. I also want to say, I just learned that someone did a zine about the last 7 years of Midnight Madness. Whoever you are amazing. That is awesome. Thank you so much. All right. And we can cut. Vitamin C. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to talk about this movie a lot. I saw this film in Cannes. I didn't know anything about it. Except a picture of a lot of pink stuff and some type of shape. And the picture was so small, I didn't even could tell what that image was. I went into the theater at 9 a.m., I watched this movie, and I was giggling for the next week. This is one of the most feel-good, amazing slices of weirdness I have seen all year. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. The moment I saw it, I wanted to bring it here. Not because it was a traditional genre film, because I simply wanted to hear what this audience, the noise they make when watching this movie, because it is going to be noises the Ryerson has not produced before. So I'm so excited to put up for you guys to meet these incredible filmmakers, Gabriel Abrantes and Daniel Schmidt. What should they know about Diamantino? I feel like as little as possible, but is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I think as little as possible is good. For any of you who come here for all the Midnight Madness movies, Daniel was describing a bit what happens. So I'm very excited to see what you guys think of this very weird movie. It's very different, most likely, from the other films. But Peter was saying that this audience, not only are you guys the most excited about movies in a very vocal way, but also the most open audience and the most audience that's willing to embrace the weirdest, strangest fucking things. So I think this really qualifies.
I just wanted to say, thank you to you especially, and to probably all the people that you just thanked, and many people. But I think, yes, echoing what Gabriel was saying, we were very surprised and very honored to be brought here, and then I was just talking to you, and you were saying that one of the things that some of the movies that you show here is that they're somewhere between genre and avant-garde, but mixed with naivete. And this film definitely has a lot of the latter. So, and then that got me thinking, like, on that note of like naive filmmaking, like we were kind of making this film up as we were going along a little bit. I don't know, but you know. I'm a filmmaker now, but like I'm still a wannabe filmmaker or wannabe good filmmaker, and so I go to like wannabeagoodfilmmaker.com and I read those like how do you do it? And one of the things that they always say, which I always find like kind of weird, is like you gotta know your audience, man. Know who your audience is. Like get that audience, like you know, play to them or whatever. And I was like, I don't know who my audience is, but you guys are our audience, and we're so.
Turn off your cell phones. I don't want to see any of them on anywhere tonight. Let's enjoy Diamantino! Gabriel and Daniel! So I have to ask, well, how did this project begin? Your producer's here too, right? Daniel, take the stage as well.
Daniel Luke Stratton.
It's almost good to start with the producer in terms of, like, I'd love to hear just the impetus and the inspiration for this project, how it started, and how did you get here?
It was a long road. But I think that the beginning was we wanted to make a story about a very wealthy person who adopted somebody from a very poor part of the world for supposedly very good intentions, maybe Canada. And so that was the beginning of the project. And then it originally was very different, but at a certain point we wanted to do a film in Portugal and about Portugal, and we started thinking who's the richest, most iconic Portuguese character. And we wanted to work with Carlota, with the actor, who was amazing. I'd worked with him 3 times before. Yeah. And so that was the beginning, and then we wrote the film for Carlota. Once we had this idea of the superstar soccer player who was going to adopt a kid, and it was going to get confusing. And Carlota really came together.
What inspired the puppies, though? Like, where did that image come?
Just Gabriel's raw genius. I mean, we love animals, and did this kind of no, okay. And I think there's been a few films we've made, some films together and some films apart, and we look at. Magic touch. You look at the films after we make them, we're like, oh, that didn't turn out great, but one of the main measurements is like, were there enough animals in the movie? And so this one we were like, let's not fuck it up. And I really wanted it to be piglets. So I'm still like, this is like, it's... But no, they're cool.
Yeah, but it's good. Once the production demoted it from piglets to puppies, we were sort of let down. We're like, okay, what can we get? Golden retrievers. And then this guy shows up with these 15 Pekingese dogs. And they've got the craziest names. It's like Betty and Bacchus and Queen. And we fell in love with them immediately. And we filmed on a green screen with them. And they were just peeing everywhere, which makes, clearing the green screen very hard because it gets darker or whatever.
No, fantastic. Well, one thing about Carlota that I love about his performance is some of that tick that he does. And I'm just wondering, like sometimes before he says a line, he just does a little bit of like a tick. And I love that moment. Was that an idea that he ever brought up to you, or was he just started doing that and it became something that you allowed and wanted to continue?
Carlota's like a super intuitive actor. I think he's really, really genius in a way. I think he he's got a lot of role models and idols, like actors, and some idea of like method acting, but a very perverted, strange idea of method acting.
Was he method throughout this? Like, was he in character the whole time?
He was like a silent film star in my mind. He's like there's something much more sort of naive and very physical or whatever, and then like the words are almost sort of like an afterthought. I mean, he does a great job at them, but like him pantomiming emotions is like, that's the norm.
I mean, that kiss.
Yeah, but that he made up.
Yeah.
In the script. In the script, he was like, it's just written, yeah, he blows a kiss goodnight. And we're filming, he didn't tell us, and he's just Daniel and I are behind. Is he serious? And it's really good, it's really good. So he's really brilliant in that way. He'll bring that kind of stuff to the set, which is really exhilarating. He won't tell us about it, but I don't think he's even thinking of like, oh, I'll show them like while we're shooting. He's like, he's just doing it, he's feeling it, and he got really into the character. He also, I don't know, are there any Portuguese people in here tonight? Yeah? Because he has a very thick accent from the Açores. Because he was working out with a personal trainer to get like the soccer star body. And the personal trainer was from the Açores and had a super strong accent. And one very famous Portuguese soccer star is also from a different island, from Madeira, which has a different accent. We were trying to do a sort of weird, perverted parody parallel of that. But his accent is just delirious, and he just came to the set one day and suggested it, and it was really nice, and something he got from his personal trainer, so as he's modifying his body, he's modifying his voice. So I don't know. But yeah, he's somebody who brings a lot.
When did the political component of the film come into play? If it sort of initially began as a character piece about a celebrity who's adopting a refugee, or when did this idea that this suddenly now is a movie about the EU and the rise of nationalist movements?
Oh, and we finally like put our pants on and were able to make the film. It used to actually be a totally different thing, like Gabriel was saying. Like it was always the germ for the idea was this. Whatever sort of weird distortion might happen when a celebrity and someone of great wealth and power, but who's not sort of like altogether understanding of that power, maybe we could think of Kardashian, maybe we could think of Ronaldo, but gets into a more intimate relationship with like adoption or something like that. And so the original idea involved the Haitian earthquake and was something that we were thinking about years ago, and we made films in between. And when we finally got the money and the balls or the stupidity to try to make this project, we were like, well, let's look at 2017. I think Trump was elected while we were shooting the film, right? Brexit had happened a few months before, so we were responding in good South Park fashion to like as the things were happening as best we could.
Questions from the audience? Right there.
Where can we get those sheets?
Where can we get those sheets? Yeah, the Diamantino merch. Let's talk about that.
So, MK2 and Kino will soon be setting up a web store and some pop-up.
They should. Put it out there. But yeah, actually, who designed all the merch that appears in the film, the posters and such?
So we had this art director Bruno Duarte and Cypress Cook. They're a couple, and they came up with a lot of the ideas. Some of the ideas we pitched, and then Daniel and I, we take a lot of pleasure in being very involved in a lot of the aspects. So the sheets I photoshopped, and full disclosure, there were some like inflation of the muscles. And also there's this like billboard where he's in his underwear, and that one was the one where we decided to really smudge the abs outwards. So it's a mix of them, of Cypress and Bruno, and also us just fooling around on Photoshop.
How did you land on that my favorite needle drop of the year? I love you always forever. That's a pretty great moment.
I mean, I think we just love that song.
Yeah. Other questions? In the yes, right there.
So there was a line over there where you said soccer, the opium of the masses, and was
The question was about this concept of soccer being an opiate to the masses, and if you could elaborate on that idea, whether or not it was sort of another sort of, I guess, guiding point or inspiration for the film.
Yes. No, it wasn't an indictment or a critique of football or sports. I mean, the NFL has some pretty bad problems, but in general, no, we love sports, and we're not very sporty and not very knowledgeable, but this film was not supposed to be a denigration of that at all, and it was more sort of to voice the idea that someone who might be aspiring to power, like this sort of right-wing cabal, as you called it, might consider these sports to be a sort of like the new opiate. But no, Gabriel and I were very interested in sports as being basically, you know, we've kind of parroted this thing that we've been saying to different questions relating to why using sports. We were very interested in sports as being kind of like the last frontier of almost human perfection on a popular stage. Like even echoing back to like the Greek stages was something that Gabriel was interested in. But throughout the entire history of human art and performance, now sports becomes like the last sort of vestige of like, here is someone, whether it's Michael Jordan frozen in air, or Federer doing something like unbelievable, these texts that we drew upon from Foster Wallace, or Ronaldo like going up for a header and it's just like insane that he's able to make it in. That kind of spectacle offers the public something that's really beautiful and transcendental, and that Gabriel and I celebrate and are interested in, but that someone coming from a sort of, you know, fascist or power-grabbing position might see as a way to manipulate. And so obviously Diamantino is a character who's trying to be manipulated on multiple sides.
Right there.
In the beginning, when Diamantino had that crying moment and he came up with these memes, were there any memes that you did put in the film?
How many memes did you come up with?
We're
Came up with no memes. We don't know how to do memes.
we're really bad meme makers. I kept making memes and like I would send them to Daniel and I see him and he's just
I was showing them to my wife and she was like, this is not a meme. No, that's not a meme. And that is like an echo of me. I was like, but I thought that's how memes work. Like they're echoes of, you know.
It was bad. It was dark.
You relied on your graphics team to come up with.
No, we made the best thing we could do is that feeling when she friends with you.
I hope that still means something 1 year later.
Okay, we're gonna do two more. That, there, and there. Yes, you first.
So how did you get the idea of using 90s Eurodance as the musical theme for the Twin Sisters throughout the movie?
Throughout the movie, the Twin Sisters, their soundtrack is 90s Eurodance. What was the inspiration for that?
It's music that Gabriel and I both really like, but we thought that those characters, given their age in the film and their age in real life, which is something kind of touching 40 or over 40 or whatever it would be, that's the music of their youth. And those characters I mean, the Twin Sisters I love them, but there's something, they're great. I have no criticisms, but there is something sort of like one note about the performance, and so it was like a way to give them a little bit of a different sort of dimension where it's like, here's their youth, some sort of juxtaposition of, this is what they listened to when they were 16 in their bedroom or going to the club or whatever, but now they're still listening to it while they're fucking robbing their brother blind and being, awful.
Yeah, it's like perfect evil sister music. They're like making lines of code while like stealing from my brother.
All right, right there.
I was wondering if you could talk about the casting process, where almost all the main characters are women. I think the only men are the director, the fascist director, Diamantino. Was that something that you set out to do? Did it evolve organically?
The question is just regarding casting in general and how predominantly the cast are comprised of women.
Yeah, I think that like comes out a lot is in the script. Originally the script, as Daniel was saying, we started writing it in 2010, and we wanted to do a script about this wealthy character who adopted these kids from a situation that was problematic. And originally it was a reaction to the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, and originally Diamantino wasn't Diamantino, it was a rich Brazilian heiress. She was like a super powerful corporate leader of Rio de Janeiro. So that also changed, but I don't know, Daniel and I like to play a lot with gender and gender roles, and we wanted to do this film where almost everybody was women besides Diamantino. Actually, Guerra was an error. He was also supposed to be a woman, but then he did the role really well, so... yeah, his name is Elena. And the casting process, the only thing that I remember that's quite clear is we wanted Carlotto, and that's where one of the starting points of the actual iteration of this film. And then the sisters, for example, they weren't twins, but then Annabella, our casting director Diogo, he came actually with the title of the film, Diamantino. I think the film was called In Pursuit of Happiness before.
I think also our producer, not Daniel, but our Portuguese producer, was advising us to try to change the film as much as we could from the real life of he who shall not be named. And he surrounds himself with a lot of male figures, so that was another, you know.
All right, well, we don't have any more time for questions. This has been Midnight Madness. This has been Diamantino. Put your hands